According to the Gazette, there is one man's legend that transcends over 5 decades of automotive change. Could you guess who they're referring to? Well, today I'm here to discuss with you Mr. Carroll Shelby. I will reveal his childhood, his careers, and also his health problems. My research for this speech was found in the Gazette, Globe and Mail, the Wall Street Journal, and also the Washington Post. First, let's discuss Mr. Carroll's childhood. He was born in a town called Leesburg in Texas on January 11th in 1923. Mr. Shelby was 7 years old when him and his family moved here to Dallas. His father was a mail carrier and his mother a genuine homemaker. As told in the Wall Street Journal, Shelby was confined to a bed for the duration of his childhood due to a heart problem that stayed with him throughout the extent of his life. He enlisted into the military as soon as he could, at 18, and served as an Army Air Corps flight instructor until the end of World War II. After the war, he raised chickens in Texas and was part owner of a dealership, also mentioned in the Wall Street Journal. Next, we'll move into the most well-known things of Mr. Carroll Shelby's life, his careers. The most recognizable achievement and where he first made his big name was behind the wheel of a car, winning France's grueling 24-hour Le Mans race in 1959 in an Aston Martin. He was only the second American-born driver to ever win this race, confirmed by the Washington Post. This source also tells Shelby's next big victory. When a heart condition forced him to retire from racing in 1960, he turned to automotive design. Determined to put the most aesthetically and functionally pleasing vehicle on the road, Shelby put a Ford V8 engine in a little-known British roadster and dubbed his new car the Shelby Cobra, creating an absolute legend. As the engine displacement rose from 260 to 427 cubic inches, he almost single-handedly defined the modern muscle car. All horsepower, wide tires, rumbling engines, dual-side exhaust pipes, and unbelievable speed. An absolute legend. The Cobra was the fastest street-legal car in the world, going from 0 to 60 in 4 flat seconds. Automobile Magazine ranked the original Shelby Cobra to be one of the top 10 most important cars ever built, though only about 1,000 of these were ever manufactured. Shelby had created the muscle car in this country by himself. Mr. Shelby later put updated models of his classic Cobra back into production and then again returned to the Ford to design a new high-performance GT500. Out of racing, Mr. Shelby opened his own school for high-performance driving. Shelby drove cars, built cars, and also shared this passion with others by teaching them how to obtain the same thrill. A legendary man. Lastly, we discussed Mr. Shelby's health problems. As we already know, he suffered a heart problem starting at a very young age. He lived with his condition his entire life, but never let off the gas. The Globe and Mail reported that Shelby received a heart transplant in 1990 from a 34-year-old man who had suffered from an aneurysm, and then again a kidney transplant in 1996 from his son, Michael. 2 people he owed his entire life to because they made it possible for him to continue his need for speed. Shelby was one of the nation's longest living heart transplant recipients, continuing his throttle therapy even into his late 80s. Mr. Shelby died at age 89 in 2012. It was reported that this was due to pneumonia and that his body just couldn't fight it off, but he had one hell of a run. Today we have discussed Mr. Carroll Shelby, his childhood, his career, and his health problems. This man had one main interest that he used in a million different ways over his lifetime, experiencing every part of the racing industry. He lived out his biggest dreams and not only was a champion race car driver, but also the father of the muscle car. Thank you for listening.